Everybody here wants to become a better jungler, and what better way to do that than to pick champions that enable a playstyle that suits you. This is not just about picking the most OP broken champions on a patch, that's a whole different video. This is about picking champions that will teach you a core fundamental, some of those are on your screen now, that you can apply to any other jungler you might play. That means when you create your champion pool and you have 3 junglers you like to play, 2 of them get nerfed, 1 of them gets shut out back by Riot, then you have to pick 3 more. You would be able to pick champions that have similar transferable skills and pick it up right where you left off without losing any LP. And first off, I have to go with the Bel'Veth. Yes, I understand that you are thinking, wait, didn't you just release a video saying you hate her and everybody hates her? This is in fact true, we did do that. But it also means that she might teach you a few things about how to be a better jungler when it comes to aggressive invades, high tempo play, macro to close. These things on Bel'Veth, when done correctly, are nigh unstoppable. You can easily get to Diamond and Master Plus. We don't recommend it for low elo because you do need to have a bit more prediction of what the enemy junglers are going to do. Your Q ability isn't just to chase people down, it's to react and maneuver in fights, to understand when exactly you need to use it. Now, what it also does, if you're a human being Bel'Veth, which we all have no problem with, it's the crazy psychopathic invades ones we do, hence the video, it's that you need to understand, hey, when I apply good jungle clearing principles, should I invade here? Should I gank there? Should I farm a little bit? She can really do all of those things. If you think about playing Bel'Veth like a thinking human being, you will honestly realize that she offers so much in the way of understanding jungle tempo and macro. Also, you will understand that when you have a lead, you want to get in the enemy jungle's face, right? Deny them all access to objectives. You want to hit turret plates. There's never a moment to relax and farm and wait to scale or play around your ultimate. None of that exists. It's just on the move all the time. So if you like jungling and you're a little bit slow and you kind of want to step up your own control, she will really force you to do that because otherwise you're going to lose every game. But if you don't want that to happen, you absolutely must head over to Virkayu.gg. I have a free jungle improvement resource as well as a dedicated program where we have jungle video courses, jungle coaching VOD libraries, weekly free video content seen nowhere else, as well as Q&As and patch note rundowns, as well as a private jungle Discord. And if there's one thing I'm good at, it's making junglers reach their goals, as we saw with the record number of people hitting them at the end of Season 13. If you want to climb faster than anyone you know, jungle diff every game you play, click the link below or head to Virkayu.gg. Let's go with Kha'Zix here because I thought which jungler will allow players to really get better at assassin gameplay, understanding win conditions, understanding rotations, diving, snowballing, but maybe not the easiest team fighting. You have to understand how to take out the priority target. Kha'Zix does that. You have to know to itemize against teams that can CC you in rough situations. Kha'Zix is forced to do that. When you actually are able to not run at enemy champions without thinking like Bel'Veth, right? You have to strategically think about your rotations and your pressure points. As an assassin, you can't just AFK farm. I mean, you can a little bit, but you need that balance, right? Of farming, ganking, understanding your matchups so you know when exactly you can invade people with your itemization advantage, and really utilizing the full extent of a dominating champion's kit that also doesn't happen to be very forgiving. Kha'Zix in the right hands is devastating. Kha'Zix in broken hands, well, it looks like he's from A Bug's Life. And I mean A Bug's Life as if you watched it now, not when it came out, which means the graphics are, not so good. Kha'Zix really will teach you with a bit more forgiveness how to play assassins properly. It's a difficult class to master, but if you can really get to grips with using his R to get in and out, to use isolation damage to make picks, to use a W when you need to wave clear, get some extra slows down, this is a crucial aspect of all assassin gameplay. I thought, hey, let's put Evelyn, she's strong, but she has a gimmick. She's always invisible, and that's not transferable to everybody else. Whereas if you can master Kha'Zix, you will become a better assassin jungler across the board, including Evelyn. And on that note, you're thinking, but Kayn will do the same because I can just go blue and then, I'm an assassin with freebies. Yeah, but there's a lot of gimmicks for that, isn't there? And you're not going to be able to get away with the same kind of flanking on other junglers. Now, what Kayn provides is a really deep understanding of win conditions around your form and itemization. Now, a lot of people don't think that flexible itemization is a thing. It is on him. You can really do a lot of different stuff. But also they think because he's Kayn, that E, he really is just a cheat code. He's a lot of gimmicks. A lot of these aren't really untrue, but then you think about it, a lot of junglers do have gimmicks, and I try to restrict this kind of video to those that do not. But I always include Kayn because I think if you can master understanding team composition, picking blue or red, picking the right itemization to go with your form, playing that form correctly in team fights, understanding what your role actually is in the game, but also fusing together ganking and farming, then it's such an amazing skill set for you to understand for every other jungler you play. Now, you might not want to play other junglers because you get addicted to their life, but at the same time, this is such a core principle. Most junglers either farm too much or gank too much. They're almost incentivized to the extreme in one or other direction. Whereas Kayn just says, look, I gotta farm, I can do that, I can skirmish decently while I really need orbs, so you can't really be AFK, and you also can't gank too much. Understanding that you're dying for orbs is fun, but it's not really the baseline level we're looking for. So for Kayn, yes, when you go blue, you're playing like an assassin, you're getting that pick potential, you can go all in, using and really learning how to flank. I mean, I know we talked about the Kazakhs, but what he will teach you is how to flank. Cheat code flank, but apply that logic to Rengar ultimate, to Twitch even, to the Evelynn. Having that flank maneuverability as a skill set and understanding not to just run face first into everything is huge. Also, this term I coined way back in 2017 called the suction effect. If you do happen to be a blue Kayn that's fed, and you just really go in, the whole enemy team is going to converge on you, blow their sums, and you obviously with your ultimate and your E and your Q can reposition and maybe get out, but your team will follow up on that hopefully. And you can understand how far it is to engage, how important it is to blow important summoner spells. Your team fighting really steps up another level when you understand these things. Likewise with Rust, you have to understand red is a very different ball game. No, you're not going to have those same flanks. Yes, you can be kited, but you got sustain and disruption. You can interrupt with your W, save that for the right person. You can go a bit more damagey, you can go a bit more hybridy. You are usually the evil demon that everyone hates at the end of the fight, who's full HP and gotten a pentakill almost while everyone else is dead, even though you should have died 14 times. It's a different high. But what that really teaches you is how to play like that sustained fighter god that most junglers happen to be. If you can understand how to play like Rost and do well, then you're gonna do damn well on almost any sustained-based fighter, disrupting and moving in and out of fights on your cooldowns. Now, Vi is a little bit of the same, yeah, win condition. That's because Vi doesn't present the same extremes of Kayn, but what she does provide to you is a great knowledge of win condition, team fighting, objectives, and really doing all the nitty-gritty stuff that allows junglers to carry games. No, you're not going to split push, but you are going to make the pick on the priority target on the enemy team. They have Aziri who's fed, take her out. They have anyone else on the team who's fed. I can't think of ADC names because they'll piss me off. You press R, Smolder, press R on him, he dies. She has a critical lockdown, but you have to know when to use it, and you have to trigger pull when you have that numbers advantage. What she also provides is a little bit more of that pathing and rotations gameplay. We're gonna have more on that a bit later, and people are thinking, what do you mean, pathing and rotations? Well, Vi needs to play around her 6, so you're trying to sequence a little bit so that you can, burn flashes early, and then use your 6 on that for a guaranteed kill. It also means that your lockdown on counter ganks is insane. So if you can track and rotate to scenarios where the enemy jungler is, even if they're fed, you don't have to be too strong to press R, to lock them down with CC, to do percentage damage. It's not fundamental, you can just play around your lanes, farm a bit, use your R, and only gank again when you can do your R, but when you mix in the pathing and rotations like that, with that logic, you also will find yourself getting a lot of dragons, heralds, and grubs, and junglers who do that, win! Now talking about winning, yeah, if you want to win as a farming jungler, a lot of sequencing, you absolutely have to go with Hecarim, and this is where a lot of people will say, but sir, Hecarim is weak. No, he's not, he's fine. But sir, Hecarim is a little squishy. No, it's called dynamic itemization. Most people don't itemize properly on Hecarim. Most people don't sequence properly on Hecarim and commit themselves to the cause. Yes, you're stashing up, you're getting gold, you're ignoring your lanes, you're being a little bit of a bitch. Laners hate playing with good Hecarims because the good Hecarims are not wasting their time with anything that isn't guaranteed gold and income. However, a good Hecarim, the best in the world, actually takes more of a direct approach. That means when you have a kit that can rotate and get to things quickly, you have to use it. I understand, I just told you to AFK farm and stash that gold, but the best Hecarims know how to mesh the rotations with the farming summations. I was trying to think of something that rhymed. Nothing did. But you understand my entire point, yes? If you can farm and sequence well, play around your 6 much like the vibe, but you're farming a lot quicker, and when you see negative lane states, rough scenarios where you can't rotate, enemy junglers getting fed, your laners are losing, just control your camps, take what you can in terms of econ, use that 6 and power spike, keep yourself equal to the enemy jungler, and then take out their weakest or strongest lane. Doesn't matter which one, because you're strong. Whoever's pushing, the enemy jungler isn't there, kill them. And what Hecarim does extremely well as we get into more depth here with these junglers is you can very easily to an absolute another level. There's almost nothing more annoying than going against a Hecarim, going equal or beating him, then he goes away for a few minutes in the mid game. You don't have the kit to necessarily push the map too much, or you're not very good and you haven't become a better jungler yet. And he pops out up 20 CS, 2 levels, and you're like, wait, what happened? Hecarim's farming ramp up is insane. Use it, and use it well. Next up, we're going to talk about Volibear. As we go into the more listen, I have tankiness and I have a fighter kit. What can I do to actually win these games? Volibear can full sequence, not as fast as he used to, but he can. He's a heavy ganker, he's a meat-soaked tank sponge in the front, he has a hell of a lot of sustain on his kit. If you prefer just to be an engaged tank that eats all of the things and sustains himself and really is the reason people hate him because of pro play where he's just a stun-butt engaged tank that can't be killed, then you can go with the build on your screen. But you can also go with my build, which is a fighter W max build where you are much more playing like a Rost. Yes, that isn't as effective, there's a lower win rate on it, but it's way more skill expressive, and you can still be a tank when you go for the rest of your itemization. This is where you have to kind of understand how to play as a tank. That means, while you may be fed or not fed, it doesn't matter, you have to ask yourself, when do I engage and on who do I engage? Maybe I don't engage at all and I just wait for the enemy assassin to go on my fed ADC and I just have to stun them with my Q. When should I go diving and snowballing in the early game? What about my macro as a general jungler to always be with my team? A lot of junglers play like the Hecarim, they full sequence, they keep doing that, your team wants to end and you're the big engaged beef boy bear and you're doing your Krugs. Knowing how to macro around team fights and be there for your team is critical. And of course, fusing ganking and farming and objectives, really just a little bit of everything here goes a long way for understanding how to execute on Volibear, but that disruption team fighting, the pick-based potential, the Bel'Veth ability to smurf and end games quickly, these are all very, very important. But he does have a little bit of the downside in that he will fall off, another champion can kite and kill him. However, if you have the lead early, because you understand the early game better and the mid game better, usually you will be in a great place with the default tank build to always do what needs to be done. And yes, this will apply to other tanks, but for now, we've mentioned ganking a little bit, and now you're thinking, well, what if I wanted to play a heavy ganking jungler? Yeah, you saw it, Xin Zhao. Last year we had Jarvan, the year before we might have had a Rek'Sai. Usually those Rek'Sai's Elises are much more harder to execute, and we pick something easier. Hey, I want to learn how to gank more. Okay, pick a jungler that forces you to gank, or you will lose. Pick a jungler that has a really easy ganking kit, so you don't really have to think, and you can just walk at the laners and get them. Xin Zhao is absolutely perfect for this. Now, while Volibear is also a ganking jungler, as I said, you can full clear, you can relax a little bit, you're still looking for the best places to gank and dive. Xin Zhao doesn't care about that. Red side quadrant, I'm ganking you. Any sort of 3 camper get level 3, I'm killing you. At the moment, yes, he does take a bit more up front, like he's not as skill expressive in terms of the damage builds to snowball, but you can still do it, and there's nothing stopping you from getting Master Tier with it. It works in every single elo range. You've got a knock up, an attack speed steroid, a massive gap closer if you hit your W. Your E lets you get onto people, which is huge point and click. And as I mentioned that Q, it does knock people up on a third attack, so what happens when you walk at a laner, you don't use your gap close until they flash, now you use your W, you go in, you've stacked up your Q, they get knocked up, the CC for your team is 2 free. And obviously for Xin Zhao, we're trying to do the whole Bel'Veth thing, right, end the game early, which means it will teach you when you don't have that farming fallback to start to look at ganking pathing in a different way. The best times of a ganking jungler's life are when you are getting to high elo using a ganking jungler. Remember with Rek'Sai, all of a sudden you do a red side quadrant, you gank mid lane. You look eyes up, don't go back to farm, you look eyes up, hey, I can gank top lane, I can take a scuttle, repeat gank mid lane, bottom lane's pushed, I can kill them too, maybe I can steal some camps, I'll fall back to my own. You don't always want to stay out that long, but you always look from one gank to the next. Can I do this gank, then this gank, then this gank, then can I invade? You almost forget your camps exist sometimes. And of course, you can go back to base, finally take some of those camps and do it again. You're always looking to keep up that frequency with which you show in lanes, apply the pressure, you're never looking to be out pressured by anybody. And if that's the case, play Xin Zhao, learn how to gank, be forced to do it better. And on that note, we talk about Zac a lot. Zac is a ganking jungler. Zac is almost a farming jungler. The guy needs to put points into E, he needs guaranteed econ, he wants to get ahead, he wants to disrupt. He is the ultimate sustain, engage, tank, and solo queue. He does everything that Volibear and Ross do almost together in a way. No, that doesn't mean he's twice as strong. I just mean he's got that sustain, that disruption, the engage, the CC, and obviously he can also peel. But what he does provide to you as a tank jungler, and there's not a lot of those that are good anymore, is he provides the opportunity to full clear and farm, play around guaranteed ganks with your E that you can actually use, play around your 6, but once you get a couple points in the E, all of a sudden, those angles of approach, those ganks you couldn't get with Volibear because you had to run at people's face and you had nothing else in your kit, all of a sudden those wards for Xin Zhao that blocked you off and meant you couldn't get in the lane, these no longer matter on Zac. So what you learn from Zac here is angles of approach to ganking at any particular point in the game. It lets you look at pathing in a completely new light, and this is one of the really important things about him and most ganking junglers is you have to look at vision. Where am I going to go to get the best angle of approach to actually kill this lane? And a lot of the time it's warded, and you don't have the kit to get in before you're seen, you get counter ganked and so on. Zac's angles for ganks are almost like breaking the cooldown barrier. He just goes where no one thinks you can go. But it also teaches you to repeat gank, because you know when that Smolder has no flash and is eased down, you can kill him. You know when that Valkaz has no summons, you can kill him over and over again. Because of how easy it is to hit that E and yell wee as you do it, you're almost compelled by nature and goo and Ghostbusters to, see it through. Like, I've got this kid, they've got no flash and mobility, they must die. And then you snowball. And finally, Warwick is not as much a champion as a lot of people on this list, but for those of you who really struggle with map awareness, and this means anybody below Master Tier at this particular stage, use Warwick for a game or two. Have the W passive enlighten you to when people are low, look up, click, find it. A lot of people, I tell them to play Warwick in low elo when they're newer players because it really forces them to use F keys and click around the camera. You've got these Hecarim mains who kind of get to Master Tier one time, they're up and down in Emerald and Diamond, they're in Gold, it doesn't really matter where they are, but they're just AFK farming, staring at Grump's ass the entire game. They never notice when they can rotate, but they have one of the best rotational kits in the game, and they just refuse to do it. That's why I mentioned that in the Hecarim section. So if you're playing Warwick, this will alleviate that because you can't get rid of the damn music unless you go kill that son of a bitch who's low. And of course, what it allows you to do is understand pressure because you can't AFK farm, so you need to fuse ganking and farming with the Tiamat, you disrupt and fight, you CC, you engage. You really become useless later on, so you want to close games out with good objective macro and objective control. And you've got a little bit of that whole Volibear Zac Ross thing where you sustain, disrupt, heal, and engage. And the Warwicks who understand win condition are really the ones that get to Master Tier Plus, and there's not a lot of them that have done it in history, and this is why, because he doesn't have the free gimmicks a lot of junglers have in the game, and even I acknowledge some have in this video. He doesn't, so you gotta work hard. You've gotta go step by step to become the best carry jungler.